What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Gaming Central Podcast, a weekly get-together where me, my buddy Corey, we get down, we discuss the video games that we're playing through together. Now, we break down different elements of these video games, and we just tell you ultimately what we think of 5 key aspects. I'll get more into that later. 5 key aspects that we believe each game needs to be rated on for it to be a good game. Once we're done with that, we like to end each episode with a little time in the Nerd Corner. In the Nerd Corner, we break down different nerd media that we are interested in. This week, we're going to cover the first 5 episodes of the hit 1995 show, Marvel Comics Spider-Man, a.k.a. the new Spider-Man.
That I never knew it was called till Disney Plus.
Yeah, freaking super long name. Before we get into any of that, just to introduce myself, my name's Greg. That's Corey. As always, how the heck are you, Corey?
I'm fantastic. My quarantine week's going well. So,
oh yeah, this was week 1, right?
Yep. Lots of games.
Are you you're not at a full week yet, right?
Monday was supposed to be the first day, which it was like half day. So, yeah.
Well, I've definitely noticed, because we keep in contact, Avi. I definitely can tell you're not working because you've been like playing through games like crazy.
Yep. And it's great.
Before we get into that, I have a question for you, Corey.
Okay.
First off, I'm glad you're doing well. I'm glad you're staying safe, you and Lorena. Now, I came into a question on the old Facebook. People are getting a little stir crazy, as you may know. Mm-hmm. This is very video game related. People I went to high school with that I know are not video game players, right? They were asking about Nintendo Switches and how there's a not really a recall, but a shortage, right? Because everyone's wanting to play Animal Crossing right now. Mm-hmm. It's literally taking over the world. It's a perfect storm. Now, their big question that they put out there: what is the difference and pros and cons between digital and physically buying the game? Because they can't find it physically, but obviously digital, there's no shortage of supply. So, I'll give my answer, but first I want to hear, what are your thoughts on the whole digital versus physical aspect of video games? I know this really wasn't
like
part of
in general or just in this case?
In this case specifically, but kind of in general as well.
In this case specifically, your common everyday gamer probably didn't update their SD card when they bought a Switch, so downloading that entire game onto there, you can probably fit, I think someone said 3 to 5 games at a time, depending on what they are. Mm-hmm. I might be wrong on that. All my games are physical, so that sucks about the digital.
But this person was a brand new Switch owner, so I don't think that should really be an issue. Like, they're buying the Switch just for Animal Crossing.
Oh, they're fine then. Me, I'm a collector, so I like to have physical games, as you can. There we go. It's that way.
Yeah, okay. The whole right-left thing is confusing.
Yeah, over there, as you can see, it's a lot of games. So, yeah, like a few games have went off of one in particular that everyone got mad about going off of the digital store is Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, and the something else that I forgot. But yeah, that game you can't get anywhere. It was only on Xbox 360's Xbox Live thing. Yeah. So much for that game now, I guess. And
I didn't even know about this game, but I also didn't have a 360 really when they were popular, and I love that movie, but I didn't know there was a game with it.
Yeah, the game's really popular. The movie itself has a cult following. I've never seen it, but the game also has a cult following like that. So
yeah.
But yeah, I prefer physical. What do you prefer?
I definitely prefer physical. For mainly, my thoughts on it are like, it makes so much more sense for digital. Like, we're in an ever evolving streaming world, right? And digital just makes so much more sense when you put it down on paper. In my opinion, like the points I made for this person on Facebook, I was like, you got virtually unlimited storage. You don't have to physically insert and remove the games. That's a little thing, but it saves time, right?
Yeah, like backing out of a game and just switching over to the next one and going into it it's a game changer, kind of,
Yeah, because I don't care what system you're on. You have to hit the eject button or like pull out the game. It takes a minute or two, and minuscule at times, but when you play enough games, it really will build up.
Then you gotta go to your wall of games, and you're like,
yeah, you'd be like, oh,
hopefully they're in alphabetical order.
Yeah, and I'm so glad that Lorena finally put all your games in alphabetical
But now
order.
they're overflowing because...
Yeah, you need more shelving.
Yeah.
So I also pointed out that you don't have to worry about storing the game cases, just like kind of back to that point right there. You don't have to worry about running out of shelf space. There's less chance that you'll actually lose the game or damage the game.
You can't resell, though.
Yeah, and that is a thing. You can't really resell, but you can in a sense. Like if you plan on selling your system, you can sell the cloud storage with it. So kind of like that. But yeah. I don't know. I personally am a physical man all the way. The only way I'll get a digital is if it's not physical or if it's just like insanely cheaper. Or
so I will
free games. Yeah.
So I will say this before I went vegetarian. I know this seems like it's off topic, but it was so hard to switch that I was like, I wish that they just stopped selling meat, so I was forced to go vegetarian. And so, same thing on this side. If they just stopped selling physical media, I wouldn't get mad. I'd be like, I guess we're going all digital now, But if it's one or the other, I'm going physical every time. So,
I honestly think it's probably more cost efficient to do digital, because you don't have to do the shipping and the cost to make the cases and the disc. But
which people do say, they're like, hey, if it's digital, it should be cheaper because they have to do less with it. And it's like, no, when it's digital, they're just eating less cost.
Yeah. And honestly, my experience is that digital games hold on to their price value way longer, especially Nintendo games. Nintendo games are notorious for holding on to their value forever because Nintendo likes to have all the money they can, but digital especially.
Yeah, because there's no pre-owned or, anything like that. And also, if you take inflation into account, I remember N64 games pushing $70, and so our games right now should be way more than $60, so people should just be happy that they're $60, honestly.
Absolutely. I typically don't buy $60 games anyway, like excuse me. I have so many games that I need to play already, and there's so many games out there for $20-$30 that are great that games don't stay $60 long enough for me. Like there are exceptions, like Last of Us 2, I'm gonna probably buy release date. Cyberpunk 2077, I might buy release date, I'm not sure yet. I really wanted to buy a Final Fantasy VII remake, but with the whole COVID happening and my wife's hours being cut and we're saving for a baby, didn't really do it.
So I just figured up $60 in 1995.
Yeah.
Your games would be $101.62 today. How pissed? I mean, Canadians are paying $100
for a normal edition, not even special edition.
Yeah, for just a regular $59.99, you're gonna pay over $100. So they'd probably be like $99.99 if you. Well, even then, there were NES games that were $50-$60, so it could be higher, actually. I'm just saying. Be happy they're $60.
And honestly, I think... sorry, I know we're kind of going off a tangent here. It was just something I wanted to discuss on here. And if you guys think $60 is a agreeable price, let us know. If you think it's overpriced, underpriced, let us know. We'll read them off, and we'll talk about them next week. But back to the point, the focus at hand, I'm okay with $60. And honestly, I think video games, I hate to say this because this is a video game podcast, I don't know if they could get away with selling games at $100 a pop.
No, that's why they're still $60. People wouldn't buy $100 games. Now, Canadians watching, I know you're paying $100, but I'm doing USD. The conversion rate is like your 100 whatever is like 60 here, so yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. I just... I know too many people like myself that don't wait for games to drop in price already.
I do, unless it's Nintendo or like a special edition I want right away or something like that.
If it's a Zelda game, Corey's getting 5 of them.
Yeah, I'm getting at least 2.
Let's just put that out there. He's getting every edition at least once.
I'm not the only one, though. They did when Breath of the Wild first came out, there were more copies of that sold than there were Switches in the wild. So
it's wild.
Yeah.
In the wild.
Yeah, you never heard that term, in the wild?
No, I get the term. I just think it's funny that you said Breath of the Wild and Switches in the wild.
So they go by attach rate on a lot of games, and they're like, hey, this game has a really high attach rate. Basically, if you have a Switch, you have this game. Well, The attach rate for Breath of the Wild was like 2 per household or something. It was ridiculous.
That is weird. Yeah. I mean, it was like the Nintendo's big like title for it was like all it had really when the Switch was like around.
And people were buying all the special editions. Like there were 2 special editions that came out. So,
I mean, not to get too much on Zelda because I could talk about that game a lot, of that series a lot, but Breath of the Wild was really like a step forward in its already like platform that it uses to take step forwards. It was a step forward on the step forwards.
Yeah, everyone wants the Breath of the Wild of this game or the Breath of the Wild of that game.
Absolutely,
like
yeah.
The next revolution or whatever. So,
and I think I'm sure that they're making them concurrently, but I definitely feel Breath of the Wild aspects to Sword and Shield when it comes to Pokemon. Like with a wild area in it. I know you haven't really gotten into it, but like
people were mad though because they wanted the Breath of the Wild of Pokemon. You know, it's like
you got to make Pokemon accessible for younger children and like 10-year-olds. I don't know. Me at 10 years old, I was not be very good at Breath of the Wild.
I was barely good at Breath of the Wild now. Shoot.
Exactly. I struggle now. I'm like, crap. I have to find something to make me warm. Anyway, all right. So now that we're off that a little bit, unless you have some last minute comments,
just video games are very expensive to make. Be happy they're $60.
Absolutely, especially in this time of crisis. Yeah. But speaking of comments, Corey, segue into what kind of comments did we receive last week? Anything worth mentioning? And if anything worth mentioning means anything at all.
SNES Mapper. The whole time, Bruno, I'm hoping I say your name right. Do you want it SNES Mapper or SNES Mapper? You know what I mean?
I'm sure it's Snapper. Snapper.
But he has a cool channel, by the way. Everybody go check his channel out. Good to see this podcast is back and is more chill. The old one could get hectic with so many people in it. And yeah, the old one was fun. It ended up turning into like 10 of us just kind of like, you know, hanging out on camera, and which that was fun, you know, and there were a lot of discussions. It was a little less in order though.
Yeah, it seemed to be. I wasn't a part of that original. I got near the end. It wasn't 10 people. There's like 5 or 6 of us. I got on a couple times for some game reviews, but it seemed like it was just like rapid fire, less organization.
Yeah, it wasn't that organized, but it was fun, and like they were fun to watch. Like people seemed to.
Yeah, absolutely. It seemed to be like a fun time, and they were doing great.
We just had to pull the reins back a little bit on the updated one.
Yeah, absolutely.
The PSX Box Gamer, aka Daquan.
What up, boy?
He said, "Great episode, guys. Spec Ops: The Line was a fun game in my opinion. Kingdom Hearts Recoded was a game I had a love-hate relationship with. It's also a crime that you both didn't play Left Behind yet. Can't wait for episode 3. So yes, I need to play Left Behind. That looks fun.
Listen, I'm pretty sure we both replied to Daquan's comment on there. And we definitely both are going to play the Left Behind DLC for The Last of Us. Absolutely.
100%. And yes, I am developing a love-hate relationship with Recoded as well, which I will discuss here in a little bit.
Little foreshadowing there?
Yeah, a little bit. MT Shark 7, also a great channel. Daquan has a great channel too. He doesn't upload a lot, but he does. Go watch some of his oldies but goodies. Mark's channel is cool too. What'd you say?
Like Golden Girls. Oldie but good.
Thank you for being a friend. Mark says, awesome podcast, guys. Thank you, Mark, as always.
Thanks, Mark.
Now, on my personal channel, I upload these videos a week later each time.
So episode 2 is available on your channel right now.
Yeah, I put it up today, I guess.
This is episode 3. Right.
Wayne Hawksick says, does Comic Book Guy have real extreme rage or extreme rage on The Simpsons?
I've never watched The Simpsons. What? I wasn't allowed to growing up. My mom didn't let me. Sorry, sheltered. But I will say, I do want to try it someday, even though there's a million episodes, because I'm a big Futurama fan, and I found out that the same people that do
Futurama. If you like Futurama, you'll like Simpsons.
Anyway, I don't know the comic book man.
Simpsons is a little more pop culture humor. Like they take real world stuff and make it funny. When
they predict the future too.
Yeah, yeah,
yes, they do. I will say, on a video game note, Simpsons Hit and Run, fantastic game.
I hear a lot about it. I've never played it though.
Yeah. I never owned it because, again, Simpsons not allowed in the house growing up. But my friends owned it and we'd play it. It's very fun. Sorry, go ahead.
I might do a nerd corner on The Simpsons eventually, especially around Halloween. We need to do some Treehouse of Horrors. Those are classic. Anyways, every year Simpsons does a Treehouse of Horror episode. Just saying.
Okay, I'll believe it.
I will say Comic Book Guy has extreme rage. That's what I'll say.
Extreme.
Zymer Tracks, sub to me is his name. He says, awesome job, keep it up. I really want to be YouTube friends. Let's be friends.
What's up, Zymer? Let's be friends, dude. Welcome to the family.
Welcome. All right, that is all of the comments. Thank you everyone for commenting. Leave them if you. I think from now on, if you guys ask a question, we'll heart it, but then we'll answer on here. That way, we're not double answering.
Okay, that works. Yeah.
Okay.
I like it.
Just so you know, we read
executive decision.
Yeah.
Executive decision. Yeah, I like it.
All right.
So Corey, moving on to our first little section. What you playing, my man? That we're really not gonna. Well, go ahead. Just what all are you playing, and then we can dive into games that we're not gonna dive into.
I started The Last of Us again yesterday.
PS4.
So, yeah, PS4 the remaster. Got a little into that. Spec Ops: The Line, beat that, and got way deeper into Persona 5. And then a little while ago, right before we started this, I was helping my fiance beat a really hard part. She's playing through Uncharted 4 on Crushing right now.
Whoa, you're helping her get platinum trophies?
I was not holding the controller. I was helping her,
God.
like, yeah, you should hide there, you should shoot there, you should do this. Like, I was just giving her advice.
Okay, so for y'all that don't know, Corey currently has 31 or 32?
32.
32 platinum trophies. I have 26, and Lorena, who is Corey's fiance, has 24.
She just got Uncharted 3 recently. She's either tied with you or one behind.
So 25. If she got the Uncharted 3, she got 25. PlayStation Plus, I want to say, released the Uncharted collection this last month, and so she's been platinuming all of them and making me sweat a little bit.
Oh, she's been doing it with my physical copy. Like it was like a.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was a coincidence that they put it out for free.
Yeah, cool.
I'm gonna see how many platinums she has though right now.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she was at 24, and then if you say she got the Uncharted 3, she's at 25, which is she's really good. Like she gets good platinums too. Like I like to give her a hard time that she only gets Telltale games.
Yeah, she has 25.
Which she does. She gets all the easy, cheap platinums, which respect. But platinum's a platinum.
She's trying to hurry up and platinum this because I ordered a Final Fantasy VII Remake, so she's going to play that when it comes in.
I hear it's a pain in the butt to platinum.
Yeah.
I probably will not platinum that game, but I will enjoy the crap out of it. Anyway, okay. Sorry.
What have you been playing, Greg?
So I had a really busy week, and so I've been playing The Last of Us. I beat The Last of Us, so I'll talk about that. I've played Spec Ops: The Line. Those are 2 game of the months that we'll be talking about. And I've been playing Recoded. Those are the only games I've been playing.
Oh yeah, I've been playing Recoded too. Forgot about that.
Yeah. I did make some progress in Recoded, pretty good progress in Recoded, and I have some thoughts I want to share. But those are the only games, and since we're going to dive into them, I don't really want to talk about them in this section. So tell me about Persona 5.
Persona 5. Okay,
how far are you?
I am 4 hours in, maybe.
And Persona 5 is our long game of the quarter, voted on by Game Club. Yeah, so I haven't started it yet, but I plan on starting it soon. And you're playing Royal, right?
Yeah, playing Royal. I never played the first one, everyone, so I don't know the differences besides the one I mentioned last video. But I'm liking the game a lot. It has a really good story. The story might be one of the best video game stories I've played so far, and I only say that because if you don't know how this game's set up, it's
playing
like
what are you talking about?
Well, this is just so much more engaging. Like Last of Us is basically an interactive movie, right? So
okay.
With this, it's like I can't wait till the next day at school so I can do this. And it's like
school tomorrow, guys.
So this is like the basic lineup of your days in this game, because this game's time based. So it's like you wake up in the morning, you get griped at by the old man. People who play it know what I'm talking about. That dude's a douche. Anyways, you go to school, you like, you know, talk to people. The teacher will ask you questions sometimes. If you answer it right, your intelligence will go up and stuff. They're actually
are they hard questions?
One of them, so the only question I've had so far is he was like, hey, have you ever heard of the Devil's Dictionary? It's by this guy. And so I just Googled to see if that was real, and it was an actual book written in the 1900s. And he's like, it's a satire dictionary with this and this and this. What did he say is the blah, 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 blah. And I was like, Google. So I answered it right and got...
You cheated. You cheated.
I cheated. Definitely cheated.
Oh, gosh.
I might not cheat from now on. I might play like it's me and just not cheat, but...
Does it give you like 4 options for the question or something? Yeah. Okay. I do like that it uses like actual real world stuff.
Yeah,
and it's,
me too.
Like in-game lore. So
you'll be talking to people and building your relationship with people. And I'm like scoping out the girls. You're supposed to romance someone, you know. And
can you not romance the guy?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
I know some games are introducing that element. Anyway,
I will say though, I was talking to my friend on there, your other dude. That this is really early in the game. You meet him and stuff.
Blonde dude?
Yeah, blonde dude. And he said something, and I said something back to him, and he was like, oh, I'm so glad we think so much alike. And I was like, please don't think I'm flirting with you. Like, that's not
like, oh no.
That's not the direction I wanted to go.
Nothing wrong with that, but it's just not where you wanted to go. Right.
But yeah, you'll do school, and then after school happens, you'll do your palace, or like a dungeon. And then when you go to sleep, you'll do another little part, and then repeat. And then, like, but the way it repeats... Like, every time it's like, tomorrow after school we're doing this, or tomorrow at school we're doing this, and I'm like, oh, I can't wait to go do that after school, you know?
Oh, yeah. I hear you could put, like, 100... a guy I follow on Twitter, and he's a producer for Kind of Funny, Barrett Courtney. Yeah. He is a big Persona 5 fan, so when Royal came out, he beat it and platinumed it, and I think it took him, like, 135 hours.
Wait, Royal or the first Persona 5?
5. Sorry,
I was like,
Persona
wow.
5. I think 4 is golden, is the definitive edition.
Yeah.
But anyway, how many hours into it are you?
3 or 4, and I'm still learning tutorial type stuff. Yeah, I'm still doing tutorial stuff. I just learned new fighting mechanics, and I'm that far in.
What's the combat like? Do you like it?
It's turn-based, but you can either shoot with a gun, you can use your personas like mega attack or whatever, or you can just regular hit, and then there's like some little... You know, like, if you knock them down, you can do all-out attack and this and that, so... Yeah.
I hear that the Persona parts are, like, amazingly beautiful.
Yeah, it's really cool. Like
the whole game itself is gorgeous, I hear, but...
Everything this game does is super stylized. Like, if you win a battle, he's, like, running and, like, all these cool... Like, it's almost, like, kind of distracting, honestly.
Yeah. Oh, gosh, I just want to watch this.
Like, one thing that was kind of annoying me is I was walking through the school, and, like, they were like, go to room 3D or something, so I'm like... Because the map doesn't say what room's what, so I'm reading the actual doors, you know?
And bane of existence.
Yeah, but everyone in the hallways and stuff is talking, and when they talk, bubbles and crap are popping up all over their head all over the place, and I can't see past the bubbles. I'm like, I'm trying to... And I was like, maybe they want me to do this. Maybe it's supposed to be chaotic and loud, and I'm like, you know, trying to weave through all these students, but I don't know.
It's supposed to be like a Japanese high school, right?
Yeah, and everyone has masks on.
Are you serious?
Yeah, there's a lot of masks.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
I wonder if they just added that.
Like, I don't know. I know people in Japan actually wear masks all the time, but now it's like, I understand you.
That's hilarious.
Anyways.
Oh, man. I'm excited to get into it. I plan on playing the regular version because it's cheaper, and then if I really like it, it gives me an excuse to go back and play Royal. I think I've said that already on the podcast, but just reiterating.
You will definitely like it. It's a great game so far.
I'm a big JRPG fan, and I like my anime, so sounds like my kind of winner.
Yeah, this is your cup of tea.
So, Uncharted 4 is the other game but that's really Lorena.
Yeah, I've just been helping her every once in a while on Uncharted's.
Helping her cheat? Let her know. I know she's cheating. She's cheating.
She's doing pretty well. I'm pretty proud of her.
Yeah, no. She needs to learn how to go. She needs to go back and get that Dishonored platinum. Learn that slide shot.
I know, it's one little shot, like trophy. She's not doing it.
Yeah. Okay. You ready to move on?
Yes, sir.
All right, moving on to the first game of the month. Every single month, a part of our Facebook group. Please join us. We always enjoy more people. It's called Game Club on Facebook, sister group of Gaming Central, where this podcast originated. Now, Corey is the Grand Poobah of Gaming Central. I don't know if you're the Grand Poobah of Game Clubs. Are you?
No.
No.
I'm an admin in there, but no.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, every month we vote on a game of the month. The stipulations for this game need to be under 20 hours, under $20 availability. Now, every month we spin the wheel and pick one game. Since it is a unprecedented time in our world and a lot of people are at home a lot more, we decided to do a second spin this month. So we have 2 game of the months, and they are The Last of Us and Spec Ops: The Line. First up that we want to talk about is The Last of Us. Corey, you have started this game, right?
Yes, I picked it back up
beat it.
Finally. I've beaten it before, yeah. But
just real quick, sorry. Little housekeeping. We talked about this last week, but Last of Us, developed by Naughty Dog, released June 14, 2013. Got really, really good reviews. Anyway, that's it.
If you don't know what it is, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, we'll go more in depth on Spec Ops because we'll be talking more about that, I'm sure. But anyway, what are your thoughts on The Last of Us? How far are you? How is it?
I just... You know the part where you first meet Ellie and then you are basically smuggling her through, like, sewers and stuff? Mm-hmm. Like, I just got through that part. Like, I'm not that far into it.
Okay, do you remember the kind of story, what happens after that? All that?
Yeah, I remember the game a lot, but I just want to say, when I started this game up again, I don't know if it's our current pandemic, the fact that I'm, like, older now and, like, contemplating having children in the next year or two.
Did you cry?
I didn't cry, but like I felt it a lot more. I was like, man, I don't even know if I want to continue playing this right now.
No joke. Like throughout this game, there are several parts where I was like, man, this game. I wanted, when I was done, to go play like Animal Crossing or something super lighthearted, because I have beat the game. I beat it this last week. It took me about 13 hours. And phenomenal. I'll get more into it next week. I'm sure you'll probably beat it this week. It's not that long of a game, but I agree. Yes, it really hit home a lot more.
It's so everyone knows what's going on in the world right now, and like you'll be watching TV and it's like, oh, it's mostly on the West Coast, it's mostly on the East Coast. The same crap is being said on the TV on that game, and I know the feeling of waking up and like, you know, something happened or like something is going on but you don't really know, and like so when you wake up with Sarah at the beginning of it and you're walking around the house kind of confused, I was just like, man, this is like too real right now. It just feels so like it makes me scared of the current world we live in.
Yeah, it made me a little more paranoid, and I had to just keep bringing myself back to
this is just a game.
This is just a game. This is just a game, and there's a beauty to that.
Yeah, so it's definitely hitting harder this time, which I didn't think it was going to. I thought it'd hit less just because I've already experienced it, but I was a completely different person. The world was a completely different time last time I played it, so, you know.
What difficulty are you on?
Normal.
Are you, any chance you're going for the Platinum Trophy?
No. There's too much crap to do with this game.
Are you getting the collectibles?
I'm searching everywhere for them, but I'm not like looking them up or anything. I hate looking up collectibles when I'm trying to like experience a game. It kind of like takes you out of it a little bit.
So I beat it on easy with the intention of setting myself up for a platinum run, and you got to beat it on Survivor Plus. I decided not to do the platinum for a couple reasons. Near the end, it wasn't really difficult because we can talk more about like that kind of stuff later. It's not the difficulty that worries me. It's the fact that it's going to be an increased difficulty, and I still have to search for stuff. I got all the collectibles. I got all the tags. I got all the jokes and comics and all that, and I got the trophies for those. But you have to continue to upgrade Joel and your weapons. You can't upgrade them all in one playthrough, so you have to continue searching in all these crevices for all these parts to upgrade yourself on Survivor Plus, and there's less of them. So I was like, nah, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, some games just like, it's not worth it.
They make you really have to earn the platinum for this game, and I was like, as much as I love it.
I was thinking while I was playing it, though, I was like, if this game was just a trophy factory, would that kind of lessen its mood? You know what I mean? Like if
absolutely.
I'm thinking it being less of a trophy factory, you're kind of like more invested in the game rather than like collect this, bing, kill this, bling, 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 you know.
Yeah, get 10 shiv kills, get 10 shotgun kills, that kind of stuff, yeah. I also think I don't know if they intentionally did this, but no, Naughty Dog, who knows? With everything being so scarce and limited, it's kind of ironic that the trophy list is scarce and limited, and you barely get any of them. You know, I think that's.
I didn't think about that. But that makes sense.
If they didn't do it on purpose, it's a beautiful coincidence, and if they did, bravo, even more bravo.
Yeah,
I will say. Okay, I gotta say this. I was gonna wait till next week, but I looked up. There's on YouTube. Don't look this up if you haven't played this game. I must emphasize this. Do not spoil this story if you have not experienced this story before. And Corey, I highly suggest you don't do this until you beat it again, get those same experiences and emotions. Mm-hmm. There is an alternate ending. Did you know this?
I don't.
Joel Druckmann, I think is his name. I think that's how you say it. The director for it. It was part of Naughty Dog. I saw an interview. I got down the rabbit hole on YouTube looking up Last of Us stuff after I beat it, just because I was wanting more information. You know, I was really fascinated. And there's an alternate ending where they're shooting, because they do real actors with the balls all over them to do most of the story.
Mocap.
Yeah. And he said as they're shooting one of the pivotal final scenes, they're shooting it, and this was happening, and the final shot, after they got what they wanted, he had one of the actors do something different, and the other actors just went with it, and so you get to see like 3 or 4 shots of them actually recording it, and then like what it was playing out like in the game itself, and it's just I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it. It's just so good. And I was like, oh, guys.
I think I have seen that, but I don't remember it, so I will
If you guys have beat the game, I highly suggest looking up this alternate ending, and it's really good.
Do you prefer the alternate ending to the...
It really... I don't want to spoil anything. It's not like a huge difference in the outcome, if that makes sense, but how they get there is different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it makes sense.
Okay, yeah. But it's like what they went with was better. But the alternate ending is still just like, you're like, oh my gosh, this is great.
I watched a lot of those side-by-sides for Uncharted, and they're very interesting watching the props they're using and stuff, you know? Like if they're at a window, it's just like a little cutout of something.
Yes.
Not even a big deal.
Naughty Dog's amazing. Yeah. And I'm sure God of War and stuff did this kind of great stuff too, and other games probably did too.
Speaking of mocap, just throwing this in, I was watching Birds of Prey last night, and there's a hyena in that movie, and it looks very, very realistic, and I was like, did they get a real hyena to like do all this stuff? And so I look it up. They mocapped a dog with those balls.
That's hilarious.
Put a hyena over it. So like,
they that's not. Did they mocap for The Last Guardian? Is that what I remember seeing? I remember seeing an animal be done before. Is there another major game with a animal as your partner or something that I missed?
I think they did do something like that for Last Guardian, but I can't remember what animal they used.
I remember seeing an animal wearing the mocap.
Yeah. But yeah, it's really cool. Like, makes you think it's a real hyena.
Was the movie good?
It's pretty good. Pretty good.
All right. Any other to share on Last of Us?
We will do our ratings next episode if I beat this week, which I should. So, yeah.
Yep. Cool. Perfect. All right. You want to do Spec Ops?
Yeah. So the next game here is Spec Ops: The Line. We already went over. It's made by Jaeger Development in 2012. It got, I don't want to call 6s and 7s bad reviews. It got above average. It
got C reviews.
Well, I'd say a 5 is a C technically.
Well, 5. Okay. Yeah.
Because average, average is middle. I don't know. Anyways,
I get what you're saying.
Never mind. We're gonna do our ratings this episode, which mine are gonna be kind of off the cuff because I forgot to do them before this, and then Greg reminded me. So did you beat the game, Greg?
So there are 15 chapters. I am in chapter 14. I know I put out there that I was gonna beat the game, but I spent about an hour and a half on it. Game's short. I'm playing on.
You spent an hour and a half on the game.
Yeah, today.
Okay.
No, I'm on suicide, which is the hardest. It's hard. There's easy, normal, hard, and then once you beat hard, which is suicide, you can unlock Fubar, which is like extra hard, and it's a hard game. I'm gonna beat
13 and 14 is hard.
Yeah, like I've counted 5 times where I've died so much that it's like, hey, bro, you've died a lot. You want to learn difficulty? And I'm like, no. I'm like, stop.
A lot of it too is
more mad.
You'll think like a lot of games like this, the enemies will have a certain pattern, and so you'll be like, all right, next time he comes around that corner, and then he doesn't even come around that corner, but a grenade randomly flies over.
Yeah, like, the grenade. Oh god,
grenades. Yeah.
Okay. I don't want to get into this yet. What are your overall thoughts? Because you have beat it, correct?
Yes. I beat it on normal, which was hard itself too. One guy in Game Club, he thought it was hard even on easy, so he stopped playing it. So, but
yes. What are your overall thoughts of the game?
Then
we'll get into our notes.
I liked it a lot, but I'm also a big fan of cover-based shooters, which I didn't know this was one of those. And if you don't know what like a cover-based shooter is, it's like Uncharted can be considered one. You know, you're hiding behind stuff, popping out, shooting. Gears of War.
Gears of War is the big one I think of.
Yeah,
like
Mass
third
Effect.
person, over the shoulder, kind of.
Yeah, the controls are kind of janky at times too because it's a little bit of an older game, and when there's lots of bullets, lots of grenades flying at you, and it's not vaulting when it's supposed to, or it's not getting down when it's supposed to, you end up yelling at your TV.
I cannot tell you how many times I died because the controls suck. And okay, just my overall thoughts before I get into the series. I really like this game, just like you said. It took me by surprise several times because, without getting into details yet, I thought I knew what this game was a couple times throughout it, and then it kind of changed it. And I'm like, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Okay, and not
being going here. I guess we're going here.
I guess this is happening, and we'll try to stay spoiler free as much as we can in this deep dive into Spec Ops. But I feel like there's some things we need to talk about when talking about this game. You know, like without spoiling it too much, right? Like
we can be vague. Like we'll try to be vague.
Someone who's played it should be able to understand what we're saying, and someone who hasn't might be able to infer. But okay. So let's dive into some of your notes. What are some notes you got?
I don't think I took notes.
Okay, well I took notes. So do you want me to just kind of
not take notes? I guess I was stupid. Okay, I just want to say that I initially this is how I usually play games. Okay, I'll pop a game in, I'll play for like maybe an hour, and then I'm good for a little bit, and then I'll come back to it, play like a 30 minutes to an hour. That's how I usually play. This game I popped in. And I just kept playing like all day one day, and I didn't mean to.
And it's a short game. I think what did we say? 6 to 8 hours is that?
Yeah, it's something like that. Yeah, it's about that long. But so that's why I don't have
times.
Yeah, that's why I don't have notes really. It's because like I just kept playing, and all of a sudden I was done with it. I was like, well. So
I played it in 3 or 4 sessions. You know, like the first time. And it took me long.
I beat it in 2.
I'm hard. I'm on the hard difficulty, and I guess I'm just not that good.
I was dying a lot on normal when it got to chapter 13 and 14.
Okay, you ready for my notes?
Let's get your notes.
All right, so I start just jotting down notes as I play throughout the game. So I'll try not to repeat, but some of them answer questions above it. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense? All right. Yeah. So first note I have is it appears to be influenced by the Iraqi war and Afghanistan, and it was in 2012. So that's about the time when all of that was really heating up, and I feel like we had a lot of shooters that like were in deserts, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
And then later on, it does clarify that it's after the Afghanistan incidents.
Do you want to give the basic premise of this? Not like the whole story, but like.
Yeah. So, do you want to? I've been talking a lot. You give the basic premise.
Okay, just in like a couple sentences. The basic premise of this game is, 33rd Infantry had to go in and do something, and they didn't come back, basically, and so. Well,
you're in Dubai and there's sandstorms like destroying everything. Like sandstorms have really just destroyed everything. The 33rd was sent to rescue people, right?
Yeah.
They're okay.
So
sorry if that's too spoilery.
No, you're good. You are special ops, you and your comrades, and so you're going there to kind of investigate, and you end up finding out that some of the 33rd has turned on America, basically, and they want to just take over Dubai. And so there's a lot of moral decisions in this game. Like, do you stick with your Americans, or do you try to save these Dubai people? Like, kind of goes, you know what I mean? Am I being too spoilery? It's not spoilery, right?
No. There are several choices throughout the game where it gives you an option. This choice.
And your two guys will be like, no, we need to do this. No, you need to do this.
Yeah, and it greatly influences how the game's played.
Yeah. So, yeah. That's basically it. You're a small team of 3 going up against people from there and American soldiers.
It's I put that the story was a little hard to understand at first. Mm-hmm. Like, for me, and I try and be someone who catches on to the story pretty quick. I try and like figure out who the characters are and like, okay, that's a bad guy. Okay, that's a good guy. That's my buddy. But it was really hard for me at first to kind of like follow it. But about chapter 5 or 6, I was like, okay, I kind of know where we're going. And then they would add random characters, and I'm like,
I just want to say, with the story, you think you know where you're going, but you eventually do not.
Yes, and we'll get to that. Yeah. So the opening cinematics, it put special guest Iced Goose, which is my gamer tag, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool.
I saw that too, and I was like, oh, well, I don't understand why you did that. Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, the controls are tricky. We talked about this, and it's probably exemplified even more because I went from Last of Us directly into this. So they have a similar feel because they're both third person, kind of over the top shooters, cover based
too. Yeah.
Yeah, and so instinctively I try and do the same things on Spec Ops as I was The Last of Us.
And I messed up opposite, by the way. Last of Us, I keep getting killed because I'm like, oh, that's not run. Oh, crap. Like,
yeah. But the controls in this game are bad. Like, the run is very difficult. And like you were saying, a grenade will come flying and you have to get away from it. And there's not a ton of cover. So, like, the best way to get rid of it, like, get away from it is run. But, like, most of the time I was crouched. And so, like, to run, you hold X and forward until the guy's like, oh, we're running. And so when you hit X and forward from the crouch position, he'll just stand up and then turn. So I can't tell you how many times I died because a grenade will come in and I'm trying to get away. And my guy's just like,
Do you not wait for the prompts? Like, if you wait for the slip out or the vault prompts, it'll think faster, basically.
And the vault prompt over stuff has been like real janky for me. I don't know if it's just me sucky. Like, it doesn't want to like jump over the things very well.
Yeah.
And it's annoying because once you get running, he's hard to control and he'll just randomly slide into something, even if it's like not where I want to go. And I'm like, no.
Yeah. So like there'll be like a truck sitting there. You're trying to run by the truck and he's like, oh, goes up against the truck while bullets are flying at him. It's like, what are you doing?
You're like, stop it, no. It's bad. Yeah. There's definitely I put an Uncharted feel to the combat. Like mass enemies just coming at you and you're behind cover and you're like
bullets and grenades everywhere.
Yeah. So there's definitely that. There's a lot of they did a really good job developing the backgrounds and like the environment. There's a lot of signs with like blacked out eyes. It's something I noticed early on. Did you notice this?
No, I did notice a lot of like F the 33rd and stuff on the walls and stuff. Like
yeah, they definitely want you to know that there's been resistance.
Yeah, there's been a lot of conflict before you got there.
And the headshot, very satisfying in this game because it like kind of slows things down. Like you hit it, it's like because it's like it like lets you know. It's like, hey, bro, got the headshot.
Did you get into any instances where you like hit that slow mo and then it lets you get to the next headshot and it just stays slow through like maybe 3 guys, like like it feels good?
Maybe not 3 guys, but there was a couple times when I did 2.
Yeah.
Specifically when I was sniping. The sniping is really good in this game.
Yeah.
As long as you're not like in a situation where you're not supposed to snipe. Like some games will let you snipe still, even if you're like in kind of close combat. it's hard to do that in this game, or at least I struggle.
Yeah.
I put holy freaking crap, he just fell down a skyscraper.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a scene where you fall down a skyscraper and he's like grabbing stuff as he goes and hooks to stuff, but he falls down a skyscraper.
Did you notice the very end of it? He was like, it's like, huh, and you're like, oh, okay, he's good, and then he's like, shit, because he's like, I don't there's nothing else I'm gonna do but just let myself go right here. I was like, I would have swung or something. You just let yourself just fall onto your back on a bunch of crap, like.
But I was like, man, I would have pissed myself right there.
Yeah,
100%. I enjoy the fact that I can skip cutscenes because I died a lot, and it would like replay the story, whatever it was. I love once you meet like the actual villain, he like is super funny, very handsome Jack feel to me. Like he's making fun of you and like making jokes and stuff the whole time, and I love
when he's
that.
in the helicopter.
Yes, I put love the villain singing as he's shooting you in the helicopter.
Yeah.
He's like,
the music's so good for all those moments too, because it feels action movie, like it's like rock and roll music playing while this is going on.
I will say the music didn't do a whole lot until like there's an action scene about halfway through the game. They'll start adding it to. It's like the DJ's like, all right, time to very Doom feel, like
yeah, 100%.
Game makes it 150. I put game makes it feel real. And by this, I mean, like, it makes you feel like what I would anticipate a soldier in, like, the war in Iraq or the war in Afghanistan felt.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, I know that's kind of a buzzkill, but, like, there's several times throughout the game where it's, like, innocent people are being dramatically affected by what's the story that's going on.
Yeah, especially when you accidentally kill someone.
There's several instances where they die by direct cause of you, and you're like, oh my gosh,
like I did not mean to do that.
And we'll get into that in a second,
yeah,
because I'll want your opinion on some things. I got to an underground parking garage. Do you remember this area?
I think so.
It was after the aquarium, and it was the first part where I like died like 20 times in a row, and I just had to quit and take a break. I was like,
what chapter was that?
Man, like 9 or 10 or something. It was shortly after you meet Riggs.
I don't know, I can't remember.
Anyway, I put friendly fire. I had a hard time kind of distinguishing my guys from the bad guys.
I shot my guy so many times, and he grinded you.
And I think if you shoot him enough or blow him up with a grenade, he will like go down, and you have to heal him. But if you just shoot him once, he like cusses you out. He's like, "What the F, man? Watch where you're shooting." And I'm like, "Oh, sorry, dude. Like, I can't tell. Like, you're not green, like outlined with green or something." Yeah. Aquarium area. Oh, so there's a Olympic swimming pool area with you're like in this big court, like big arena. Do you remember this area?
Yeah.
You have to like go down like 4 or 5 flights and work. I thought that was probably the funnest part in the entire game.
Yeah, whenever that truck,
you have like people way up high and way down low, and like you're like, okay, where is he? And it gives you snipers, so it's so much fun.
Yeah, it's fun just sniping people in like every corner of that place.
Mm-hmm. And okay, there's a part shortly after that. There's these guys called heavies, right? Mm-hmm. They're like battle, like squat bomb people. Like they have the bomb suit on, and they have like a machine gun, and they'll just walk to you like, and it takes like a million bullets to beat them. There's one part where he starts like teleporting on you.
I hated that.
And I was like, what is going on? When
the lights are flashing on and off?
Yes. And you're like shooting mannequins, and I'm like, what is going on?
Yeah.
And it kind of explains it in a little after that, but I was just like, oh my gosh.
I have a question about one of those guys, by the way.
Yeah.
Did you... Because if you don't know what I'm talking about, then I'm just going to end the question. But depending on one of your choices...
I was going to ask you your choices in a second.
But this has to do with a heavy.
Okay, a heavy.
The heavy will walk out and look like someone else.
Okay, I didn't have that happen. I had a part where I ziplined and kicked somebody, and he looked like somebody else.
I think that's supposed to happen. That's part of the story. But this, I'm pretty sure, like doesn't, like it cannot happen if you don't make the choice.
Okay, see, I guess I didn't make that choice.
Because literally the heavy walked out looking like one of my dudes, and I'm just like,
maybe that did happen. I can't.
Like no helmet or anything. He's just like a really big version of like a big white dude.
Yeah, I think I remember that.
And he's like talking crap to you the whole time.
Yeah,
I think like, you let me die, this and that.
Yeah, I think I'm
pretty sure it's a like a hallucination. But I was just like, that was kind of cool. And it only did it the first time. Like, I died there a whole bunch, obviously, because I think it's chapter 13 or 14. And he only did it the first time, so...
well, like I said, I just started 14, so I might not have seen it yet.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're fine, you're fine. I can kind of see how the game's going to end.
Yeah.
I think. The death screen messages are really messed up. Did you notice that? Like, a lot of times when you're, like, dying and they'll reload, a lot of times it'll just be like, oh, this gun is really good at this. Mm-hmm. This gun is really good at this. I died a lot at chapter 13, and this is where I noticed it. There's a part after a plane crash where you're, like, protecting your guy. And I kept dying there, and it was, like, kept giving me somber messages, like, how many Americans did you kill today?
Yeah.
How many innocent lives? I was like, what the? And then randomly it'd be like, you did what you had to do. It was like encouraging you. And I was like, this is really messed up, dude. Like,
yeah, I think our guy has a lot of mental issues. And I think, yeah, the story.
And honestly, I think that adds into the goodness of the story, you know, the real meetup. It like shows you the PTSD side of everything.
Yeah, the story is really good. Probably the best military story I've seen so far in a game. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that.
Yes, I would probably agree, and I haven't beat it yet, so I would agree with that. Now, that's kind of all the notes I have, but I wanted to ask, without spoiling it, there's a part where you can save one guy or save two people. Did you save the one guy or the two people? It was your first choice that you could really make. Did you stick with the mission, or did you not stick with the mission, kind of thing?
Are you talking about when you have a sniper rifle and you can either go left or you can make a shot?
Yes.
I saved my man.
You took the shot?
I took the shot, but then I went back and did the other one to get the trophy.
Okay, I did not take the shot. I went around it and snuck around and saved the other people.
Oh, yeah, I didn't on the first one.
Yeah, okay. Okay, now, there's a chapter called The Gate. Mm-hmm. I don't know if this is a decision you can make, but it appeared that, like, there's an area where it's, like, leading you to use a mortar or not, like, and then, like, later on I was like, kind of looks like I could, like, not use the mortar. But I used the mortar. Did you use the mortar?
What? I'm trying to remember that part.
So it's like when you shoot, like, I guess, like phosphorus. You shoot phosphorus.
Oh, yeah, I did use that. Yeah.
Okay, I don't know if that's a decision you can, like, choose not to use or not.
It had to have been, because every single time the one dude's like, no, we can't do this, and the second dude's like,
yes.
Yeah.
I was just like, oh, I got to use it. And then after I did it, I was like, maybe I didn't have to do it this way.
My thing is, I was gonna not use it, but then when I just started walking towards it, and it triggered to use it at that point. And the guy was like, all right, I guess I'll aim, and you aim and I shoot. And I was like, oh. But thinking back to that part, like, how bad do you feel?
That is the worst part. That's the part of the game where I was just like, okay, this game is not anything what I thought it was about.
Yeah, because I was just mowing anything that moved, and I'm just thinking, like, yeah, they're all... And I'm like, oh...
Yeah, some really bad things happen after that.
Yeah.
And really, like, the whole narrative of the story changes at that moment for my playthrough. So,
yeah.
And then shortly after that, after a truck crash, there's a chance you get a gun with one bullet, and you have a chance to shoot that bullet or not shoot that bullet. Shoot the bullet?
I did the first time, and then I just reloaded right away, and then didn't the second time.
So you saved the bullet the second time?
Yeah.
Did you use the bullet on the deer?
I know that's a trophy. I didn't know that was going to be the only oryx or whatever they're called. Though.
No, I think it's onyx. There's one at chapter 1 at the very beginning of the game, apparently.
It's like ORYX.
Oh, okay. So when I saw it the first time, like playthrough, I was like, oh. I didn't see it until it ran away. I was like, I'll reload and then I'll shoot it. because I shot the bullet, right? And I reloaded again, and I shot the bullet again, and then I snuck up on the thing, and I tried to shoot it, and realized I only had one bullet. And I was like, I'm not watching this cutscene again. I'll just keep the story as it is.
Yeah.
Anyway, those are my thoughts. Those are the notes I have with it. Overall, it's a fun game. Very difficult. And I wish the controls weren't so clunky.
Yeah, I wouldn't call them bad controls. Like, we get into this a lot. Jak 2 has bad controls. I'm sorry. But this game, its controls are just like... It's like these same controls work in current games. They just are more refined.
Yeah, that's the problem. Like, X should not be the sprint button.
Yeah.
Like, that should not... Like, if this game was made now, I have no doubt in my mind the controls would be fine.
You know what I had happen?
What'd you have happen? Did you die?
No, I didn't this part when I should have.
Oh.
The part where you said, did you take the shot or not? You know?
Yes.
That dude ends up hiding, if you take the shot, ends up hiding behind a little crate thing, or like a whatever. And then another one of your teammates ends up hiding behind that same thing. I was like dodging fire, like a grenade or something, so I just had to go behind that same one. Those two were already there. One dude laying down, one dude standing up. I get stuck between them. I can't.
Yes.
I was like, I can't do anything.
Yeah. A critique I have is that it will randomly make you walk.
Mm-hmm.
Randomly. Like, it won't let you sprint to the next little area. And I know they're doing it for load times, and I understand that, but it was annoying. I'm like, find a different way to load.
My freaking teammates are running, though. Like, what the heck?
Yeah, I know. They're like, and I'm like, and you're like.
Yeah, just like.
I'm like, oh. Anyway.
But, yeah.
You ready to move on to the rating system?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, you want to break down what our thoughts on it?
Okay, so we give these games Deku Nuts, and I can't remember. Do we do 10, right?
Yeah, we do out of 10.
Okay, so we have 5 areas of a game we rate 1 through 10, and that's story, combat, music, goal, which is like Mario's goal would be platformer, like did it achieve its goal, and then the art style. And if one of these don't apply to the game we play, then we omit that one. And
I didn't add this category in here, but since it's a PlayStation game, I kind of want to rate the trophies.
Yeah, so we also discuss achievements, trophies, all that kind of good stuff. Okay, so Greg, what do you give the story on this game?
Also after we give all our ratings, we do a average, and that's our overall rating for the game.
Yeah, instead of just being like, I'll give it the game a 7. You know, we
actually rate it.
We have an algorithm for this.
Yeah, we have a system. Okay,
we're the BCS championship system.
Yes. It's what we say it goes. Okay, story. Is that where we're starting? Story.
Yes.
All right. So the story, I haven't finished it, but I give it 9.5 out of 10. Oh. And I give it such a high rated story because the story actually pulled me in halfway in the game. At first, I said it was a little confusing, and I was like, okay, this is just going to be a military shooter game. And then I was like, oh, it kind of has a story element to it. And then it took a drastic turn, and I was like, I am absolutely hooked with the story. I'm excited to see where it goes and where it ends. And for that reason, it gets a 9.5.
I think you have, you gave it this high and you haven't even seen the conclusion yet. I think you might bump it to a 10 when you're finished.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, I'm excited to finish it then.
So,
what about you?
I give it a 9.
9.
And like I said earlier, probably the best military shooter or military game story I've played so far. And I was not expecting that at all, because these games usually have a cookie cutter story. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
You rebel or sometimes, and I got to go against my orders to do what's right. That's basically how it goes usually.
Yeah, I agree.
But wait, you're gonna figure up your own total, right? Because I have a bunch of stuff pulled up. Okay.
Yeah, I can add my own total real quick for you. Not a big deal. I have it written down too, so I can add it real quick.
Okay.
At the end. All right, Corey, what would you give the combat?
The combat, like I said, I love cover-based shooters. I'm going to give it a 8.5. It would get a 9 if it wasn't so clunky. So, 8.5 for me.
I have the exact same thoughts and the exact same ratings. I have an 8.5. And it probably would be like a 9.5 if it wasn't so clunky. Okay, it would be a 9 if it wasn't so clunky and I die. It would be a 9.5 if it wasn't so freaking difficult and random. Like you were saying, like if there was, I know humans in general are random. Like, and I get that they don't have the exact same things over. They're like, oh, I know they don't do that kind of stuff normally, but like every other shooter game in the world has some sort of pattern.
Yeah.
Give me a pattern.
It's especially annoying when you finally get past this wave and then you keep dying like after that wave, and then all of a sudden a grenade that was like never there before. It's like, really? Like, why did that have to be there?
The grenades are so annoying.
Yeah. And the heavies, as soon as I hear him say heavy, I'm like, oh no.
You're like, oh. I find them and I start just lobbing grenades.
Yeah, I'm just like, you're gonna take it. I started just saving my grenades for heavies. Like I was like, I'm not gonna even throw these.
Exactly.
So, music. What did you give music?
Okay, we kind of talked about music already. I don't think, in general, the music doesn't like do anything super special. So I was actually going to give it a pretty low rating. Mm-hmm. However, once you get into like the story and the nuts and bolts of the game, it really like kicks up the music when you're fighting, and I love it when it blasts rock music when I'm in the middle of a fight scene. So it redeemed itself, and I give it a 7.5 on music.
Okay. I gave it a 6, and 6 isn't bad. So if it was a 5, it'd be like I could live with or without the music. But I bumped it up an extra 1 because, like you said, when those fight scenes start happening, and now I'm not a huge rocker, like I'm not super into rock music, but it's just like an epic like movie moment when you're just like doming people with this guitar shreds going on. I don't know why.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, what would you give the goal of the game? What did it achieve what it was moving out to achieve?
Okay, first let's agree on what this game's goal is. I think this game's goal... Yeah. So, if you look into the game, the goal was to make you feel a certain type of way about these decisions, for one. Like, that it was known for, like, moral decisions. It hit that note, because I felt bad a lot of times. So, it did that. Cover-based shooter, military. I think it achieved its goal very well, and I'm going to give the goal a 10. It did exactly what it wanted to do. Cover-based military shooter, very moral dilemmas going on there. Like everything it wanted to do, it hit. So
I agree that that's the goal of it. It was like most military shooters just want you to like really enjoy the shooting aspect and the combat, but it set out to like put you in the shoes like more than a video game normally does. It wanted you to feel the consequences of your action and really like be like, not just yours, but America in general, like be like, oh crap, this is really going against what, like, oh yeah, we got to fight the bad guys. But it showed you like all the ramifications of that. So I gave it a 9.
Hey, that's still pretty high.
Yeah, I don't give it a perfect score just because kind of goes back to the combat. I think like on hard, I think the combat was too hard at times. So.
I didn't run into big issues until chapter 13. So
okay. I ran into issues several times.
Yeah, so you might think like if we had the same difficulty, we might think more closely. But I mean, 9 and 10, both good. What do you give the art, sir?
The art. So the art itself, like they don't do anything super special in my opinion. Like it's PlayStation 3 graphics. I do appreciate, like I mentioned earlier, I do appreciate all the graffiti and the destruction throughout the city. Like you could tell that there's been a chaos going on. Mm-hmm. So I appreciated that. And something I noticed as you progress in the game and your character and your group, your squad, like receives damage, like they have like patches on them and they're like the main character's like skin is burnt. And like I noticed today because I was dying so much, I was running behind my guy like to a certain load screen. He has like a cut on the back of his head, and he has duct tape on the back of his head, like a makeshift wound. So I appreciate that, but it doesn't do anything. Like other than that, it doesn't do anything special. So I gave it a 7.
So I just want to throw in something. I agree 100% about the damage your guy is taking through this entire game being actually visible on him, because so I didn't notice it as much while I'm playing the game. Like I kind of thought, oh, he's kind of dirty. I didn't really think about it. But when I went back and replayed an early chapter for a trophy and saw how clean he was, I was like, holy crap.
It's very subtle, but like me dying so much, I was like, oh man, this guy's getting a lot of...
he gets beat up in this game. But I gave it a 6.5. You know, there's only so much you can do art-wise when you're like in the middle of a desert, and so you can't really fault them for that, but it's nothing special to look at, but it's also not ugly, so...
Absolutely. And they're in a desert on the PS3, you know, like, there's sand everywhere.
Sand and broken buildings and stuff. So,
all right, what about the trophy system, Corey? What would you give the trophy? Are we going to add the trophy system to our ratings?
Do you want to start that now?
I don't think we should. I think the trophy system itself or achievements should be its own thing, because a lot of developers, when they're designing a game, don't necessarily, especially in the PlayStation 3, don't necessarily like plan trophies as much as they are focused on the other stuff.
And also, that shouldn't play a big role in a game's rating. It's because, like, think about The Last of Us. It's like, are we gonna bump The Last of Us from like a 9.5 down to an 8 just because we gave it like a 2 on trophies?
Right, exactly. I get what you're saying, and I agree.
So I like this game's trophies.
Yeah.
The only thing I don't like is having to beat it on hard to unlock that other one. I wish you could beat it on any difficulty to unlock it. And but I do like having a trophy for each decision. I like that. I'm always a fan of so many kills with each weapon, or so many kills with like a certain like technique. You know what I mean?
Did you get those trophies? Were you able to get those trophies?
Yeah, I got all the weapon and technique kill trophies, and a lot of the decision ones. That I got really annoyed though, because I didn't look up how to do the sneak around trophy. You know that we were talking about, how you snuck around and I shot. You took the shot.
Oh, okay.
I took
the
shot.
Okay,
you snuck.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
So I just won't shoot, and then so I just didn't shoot. And then my guys just jump down, we start fighting everybody, beat that whole chapter again, no trophy. And I was like, what the heck? Yeah. That's my fault.
You don't even have a fight.
I know. You just like sneak around, silence a dude, and then undo some people, you know.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I like the trophies a lot, actually, except for the, having to beat the game on hard first.
What would you rate it?
Out of 10?
Yeah.
I'd give it a 9. I like the trophies.
I agree. So many kills with each weapon. There's not an overwhelming amount of weapon, and it's not each weapon. It's weapon type. So it's like assault rifle, handgun, heavy. I like that a lot more than like you have to get 50 kills with the AR-15, 50 kills with the AK-47. That like Uncharted does. I think that's a little extreme. Because there's typically not enough weapons to...
You basically have to farm it if you're going to do that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And with this, but they did do a cumulative build-up, so they let you, like, if you die and you get 10 kills and you die, then you get 10 more, you're at 20. So me dying so much, it really built up for me. So I did appreciate that. Again, the 2 playthroughs always upsets me. Like, I don't like having to do 2 playthroughs. I don't mind playing on hard, but this game's hard is really hard, so I can't even imagine what FUBAR is going to be.
I also...
go ahead.
Continue, sorry. I thought you were done.
The collectibles, there's like 14. They're not
intel,
at all. Yeah, they're not. They're very easy to find and kind of on the beaten path.
And there's chapter select, so...
Yes.
Plus there.
So I gave it an 8 out of 10 on trophies. It would be higher if if I could beat it on hard and not have to play on FUBAR, it would probably be a 9.5. It'd be very close to a perfect score.
I also like
trophy list is not bad at all.
Yeah, the thing that pops up in the corner telling you your progress towards it. It's not an exact number progress, but it does let you know that you're working on it.
Absolutely, I love that.
Quick question.
Yeah, hit me.
Have you been using the attack command?
Yes, I used it a lot.
I beat the entire game without the attack command.
I used it a lot because it said, like, hey, on FUBAR, the extra hard, you're going to have to use it a lot. I used it a lot. The only problem was about halfway through the game, when the game started getting even more difficult, like, because it puts your comrades at a risk. For those of you who don't know, it's like you can focus on an enemy in the background, and it's like, I want him dead. And your guy's like, I'm on it. And
he's not smart at all about it.
No, he just stands up and starts shooting, which normally isn't a bad issue until there's 20 guys all shooting you at once. And so anytime you use the attack command, your guy will go down. So I quit using it.
Yeah, I ended up going back on easy and just farming the attack command and getting 10 to 12 kills.
50 kills or something?
Yeah. So I just got 10 to 12, reloaded, farmed it again. But yeah, he's really dumb. He'll just walk out in the middle of 5 dudes and just shoot at one and then go down. I can't imagine doing that on hard.
You have to be strategic. Like you have to do. I learned you have to do like the snipers.
Yeah, he's good with snipers and stuff.
Like if you're like that guy way up there, where you don't really have to expose yourself to get him. That's how you do it.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm still working on trophies. My plan is to get all of the trophies except for the hard and FUBAR, and then later decide if I want to do that. I don't know. So,
and my plan is to get them all like finish it on hard, and then like chapter select and get the other trophies, like the decision trophies. And so the only trophy I'll have is the FUBAR. I might just try it, and if it's just way more difficult, if it's about the same difficulty, I'll try and beat it. But if it's like a huge, like 50% more difficult, no, I won't go for the platinum.
I have a question for you. Do you know if, like, say if I go back to chapter 2 to grab intel, do I have to finish the chapter for the intel to count, or can I just leave?
I'm afraid that the intel is probably not going to be cumulative. Typically, collectibles aren't. Typically, like if you miss one collectible, like going back to wherever you load, you don't have the collectibles from the whole game. You have the collectibles from whatever you were loaded at. So you have to like go get them all after that.
Well, like Uncharted would let you just go chapter select and grab whatever you want. Yeah. Okay, and you would just keep it.
See, I didn't know. But that's also Naughty Dog. This is Jaeger, this is his only non-combat simulated game. But
True.
So I don't know. I don't know if it works that way or not. If you guys know, let us know in the comments below.
Yeah.
All right, Corey, what is your average rating for this game?
Let's see.
Based off your scores, divided by 5. You want me to... I thought you had it.
I have an 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10. So you got a score of 40? Quick math.
Yep.
I got a score of 41.5, which equals an 8.3.
Our ratings are always so close, and I promise everyone that we don't discuss this ahead of time. Anytime we start to talk about this game, we're like, save it for the podcast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we try not to influence each other. And honestly, I was expecting your rating to be a lot higher on this than mine.
Well, the art and music brought this game down a bit, which... So the story, combat, and goal, I got a 9, 8.5, and 10. So, I mean, if it was just those,
That's true. It got 2 9s from me, so that's true.
Yeah.
Okay, so where does Spec Ops rate on our all-time list?
Oh gosh, were you keeping track of that? Or was
I thought you were. Yeah, you were keeping track of that.
Okay, let me go.
Our all-time list of like 2 games so far. What do we have? Ni no Kuni 2 on there, and what was the other game we did?
We did Ni no Kuni 2 and God of War.
God of War, yeah.
So, Ni no Kuni 2, I gave a total of 9.2.
Okay.
You gave an 8.9.
Oh, I can't believe I didn't get a 9.
God of War, you gave a 7.5 and I gave a 7.2. So right now... How should we do these? Average them together?
No, I definitely want both of our scores to be unique. So right now, it's on both our lists. It's Ni no Kuni 1, Spec Ops 2, and then God of War 3.
Yep, Ni no Kuni, Spec Ops,
God of War number 3, not God of War 3.
Yeah, God of War's number 3.
Yeah, okay. I have a feeling that list will be shaken up next week.
For what game?
For Last of Us.
Oh, yeah, probably.
Once it tells me that game will be kind of high.
The game might get number 4. I'm just kidding.
Or it might not. It has a 25% chance.
Yeah. All right, so.
Any last words you want to say on Spec Ops?
No. Enjoyable game. Definitely play it. I think it's a gem. It's one of the underrated gems on the PS3 and 360 and Windows, whichever you want to play it on. And I saw somebody do an LP on Windows. That game looks really good on Windows, just so you guys know.
I had never heard of it until it went Game of the Month, honestly.
Me neither. I've heard of Spec Ops, but not this one.
So if you guys have played it, let us know your thoughts. And if you agree with our aggravations, our critiques, and let us know below. And we'll read them next week.
Yes,
or
sir.
If you are seeing this in the future and we're on episode 587, we might still talk about it.
So what's next, Greg?
Next is... All right, so we did our 2 game of the months, and we kind of talked about our game of the quarter in Persona 5. Next, Corey and I have what we like to call Dude Play. Now, Dude Play is available to women as well. Dude is not just a male play. It's more of a phrase that we like to say. Dude Play is where Corey and I have a game that we want to play through kind of together. I know we're playing Game of the Months, but this is like just any game. There's no speculations on anything. We take turns, and we're like, dude, let's play this. Or, so, if you're a female out there, we've had this before. Like,
or
if you
anything in between.
Or anything in between. It's like, dudette, let's play. It's like, it's basically just, hey, man, let's play this game. So, Dude Play. And so, I picked the first game, which was Ni no Kuni 2, and we've kind of talked about that. So Corey picked this game, and it is Kingdom Hearts Recoded. It is the 4th entry into the Kingdom Hearts series, 4th release order. So it's directly after Kingdom Hearts 2, and it is on the DS. And there is a cinematic HD remake on all the collections, but those are just the cutscenes, so we decided to play it. We went into the details of the developer, the release date, how it was received. It appears to be not very well liked by most critiques compared to the other games. The other games are all like masterpieces. And so how far are you into this game, Corey? What are some frustrations, positive notes that you have on it so far? Because you have not beat it, correct?
No, I've not beaten it. I'm still working on Traverse Town.
Cool.
No, listen. I turned it back on. I was going to finish it. So in Traverse Town, which I know everyone says Traverse Town, but it's literally like the word traverse, so whatever you want to call it. You have to find Huey, Dewey, and Louie. And no, I'm not spoiling anything major. I'm trying to find Louie, and the controls, man. The controls just making me so mad. This game should not have platforming in it. Why does this game have platforming in it?
Yeah, the jumping's hard.
And then there's an auto jump too, so you'll try to line it up to jump right, and it auto jumps, and you fly over the block you're trying to jump on, and then you got to go all the way back around. And so I just got super frustrated, and like I was actually getting mad, so I just finished where I was and turned it off.
You got to power through, man.
I'm definitely gonna power through. I was just getting really angry.
So, how many hours in are you?
2-ish, 3. I don't know, 2 or 3.
I would say you're probably at like 1.5, 2, because I am about 5 hours in, and Traverse Town is the first world. Mm-hmm. I've beat Traverse Town. The next world I have beat as well, and I'm on the third world, and I'm probably a third of the way done with the third world.
Are you getting frustrated with it?
There's frustrations, but not really with okay. So the next world, there is a part where there's more platforming, and it's stuff that you don't have to get. It's like extra stuff, like some chests.
That's the problem, though. I don't know what's extra and what's getting me to where I need to go. You know what I mean? I'll do all this platforming just to get like some items.
And we'll go in more depth when we actually review it. This is just kind of our thoughts as we go through it. There's one area where I was just like, because it's like a floating box, and it was really difficult, and I was just like so frustrated. I will say, this is not a spoiler, like with the grid system that we talked about, one of the unlock skills or whatever that I got is a high jump already.
Oh,
so
okay, that'd be
if
nice.
if you guys have ever played Kingdom Hearts, typically near the end of the game you get like a high jump or a glide or something. I don't have glide. I'm anticipating there will be a glide, but I do have high jump, and I got that in the second world, so it came in handy. I was like, oh, this is nice. I can jump real high already.
I know people were probably thinking, it's just platform, what's the big deal? But this is on a DS, okay, where you don't have
DS.
You don't have like, considering it's on the DS, your movement itself is supposed to be with a D-pad. Like, we just are blessed with a freaking control stick because we're using a 3DS. I can't imagine with a D-pad. But you have to use like the L or R, I can't remember, to turn your camera. So you just hold it down to turn the camera. So imagine
I click it.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, like I don't hold it down.
Oh, it is clicking it. It defaults, doesn't it?
Yeah, it just like goes behind you. So I click it a lot.
So you have to like jump on something, barely turn the way you want to go, click it so your camera will turn, and then you got to barely turn, click it, and then you get right to the edge, ready to jump, and then it auto jumps. And you fly right over the block you were trying to jump on. So,
yeah, it's frustrating.
Yeah. Anyways, I'm
enjoying it. I'm enjoying it. You'll learn that each world, like, because you're kind of going through like the first game in a sense. The story is kind of along those lines. But what happens? I think after I beat the second world, it kind of explains why, and so that was really cool. So I kind of understand the point of the whole game now even more, and I've actually enjoyed it because each world has its own thing that it does, and you'll understand that when you like beat the first world and you get to the second world, you're like, oh, I get what he's saying. And if you guys have played this game, you know each world, from my experience so far, has its own like way that you beat it that's different, and so that's kind of fun.
I'm enjoying it. I just got really frustrated last time I played it, so I think it's because I wanted progress. I'm pretty sure the reason is because I was like, because Lorena took a nap and she was like, just lay with me, and I'm just like, fine, I'll just play Kingdom Hearts then. And I was like, I'm just gonna lay here and beat this world real quick, and then I'm gonna get up and do something else. And I lay there and I didn't beat the world real quick because I was getting so annoyed.
You're like, gosh, take it.
Yeah. So, but I'm definitely gonna push through and beat it because I want to play the rest of the Kingdom Hearts. So.
Yeah, I think this is probably like without playing the other ones, I think this is probably like the low point in the series.
Yeah,
but
and it's not even that bad.
Yeah, it's not bad, but comparatively.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll have more thoughts on that next week.
Yep.
Now we've reached a part of the show which concludes the video game madness. So if you're done, if you're just here for the video game, thank you guys for hanging out. Like, comment, and subscribe. We
love you.
We love all the love, and we love love. So time to move on to the nerd corner. I don't know. I was just trying to figure out something. And Corey, this nerd corner is in your room this week.
Yeah.
It's in your room. So
like
I will give you the light switch.
Okay. I added our little Spider-Man comp guy on the screen, and I moved our whole background on accident. So a little behind the scenes action there. Yeah. So I chose to do the 1995 Spider-Man animated series. If you guys don't remember, it used to come on Fox Kids back in the day, and Marvel did a lot of these: Iron Man, Fantastic Four, etc., etc., etc.
etc.
X-Men, that was a big one too. We did episodes 1 through 5 of this. 1, because I love the show. 2, to make some comparisons to the comics we just finished reading. Episode 1, we talked about the first 5 issues of the 1963 original run of The Amazing Spider-Man. And I thought this would be fun to kind of compare. And overall, I enjoyed watching it again. I still like the show a lot. What did you think overall, Greg?
I really enjoyed it. I didn't realize that I had watched it growing up, but like as I'm watching, I was
nostalgic.
Like, I remember this kind of stuff. Not the episodes in particular, but I was like, I remember like the theme song, and I remember like seeing this show.
Yeah, that theme song, man, Radioactive Spider-Man.
Yeah, it's catchy.
Yeah, so the little series overview says the series focuses on Spider-Man and his alter ego Peter Parker during his college years at Empire State University. I didn't realize he was a college student in this.
You didn't? They talk about college all the time. That's part of my notes.
I know, but I guess I was thinking because Eddie Brock works with them now. Anyways, yeah. As the story begins, Peter has already gained his superpowers and is a part-time freelance photographer for the Daily Bugle. So in the comics, we see Spider-Man. Did we see him get his powers? He's in high school still.
No, the comics like said he got bit by a spider. That's it.
Yeah.
It didn't really go into it.
So if we're gonna assume that the comics in this have any kind of tie together at all, which we probably shouldn't assume that. He got his powers in high school, and he's already in college now. So this is a slightly older. He already has his stuff down, which you can kind of tell because he's not just confused about his powers. He knows all about his web cartridges and everything at this time. So the only reason I'm talking about this is because there's different jumping on points with Spider-Man stories. Like some of them will have a super young Spider-Man who like he just got bit. He's like kind of like the MCU. He's how he's really like kind of dumb, doesn't know what he can and can't do yet. Like, and I think right now this Spider-Man, he's pretty much a vet at this point.
I would say he's probably like mid-20. Like, I know he's a college student, so like he gave off an adult appearance to me like throughout the show. Like he was like 25, 26. Too. But yeah, that's one of my notes. But if he's a college kid, he's got to be like 20, 21.
Yeah. So he already has his stuff together, which is my favorite kind of jumping on point. I don't like when Spider-Man's like super dumb and ditzy. But anyways, episode 1. You ready to discuss that?
I should just give a disclaimer. I try to give this disclaimer every week. Like with video games discussion, we do our best not to spoil anything. But when it comes to the nerdy corner, it's really hard not to discuss episodes and movies. Oh, sorry, the nerd corner, the corner of nerds. It's really hard to discuss episodes and movies and comic issues without like spoiling the story to it. So sorry if you guys haven't seen these, but like we encourage you guys to watch along with these because we give you guys a week heads up. So like watch these episodes, read these comics, like watch these movies with us. That way it's not spoiled and you can give your reactions as well.
And if you need help accessing any of these, just ask and we'll help you find it somewhere if you have
Absolutely.
trouble.
There's ways.
Yeah. Trust me, I know a lot of ways. I'm just
yeah.
So, episode 1, the synopsis summary. It's called Night of the Lizard, and I added a little extra tidbit on my notes to coincide with these notes Greg gave me. The Lizard's first appearance was The Amazing Spider-Man number 6 in 1963, so the next issue of this we read, we will see the Lizard's opening sequence, whatever.
I almost put those because the source I got all these summaries from put like, oh, Kana is based off this issue and stuff, but I just didn't. Sorry.
It's okay.
Failed you?
No, you did more than I did. I just did first appearance. I like these episode summaries, and I think we need them, so we should definitely keep doing it.
Okay, cool.
So, episode 1 is called Night of the Lizard. Spider-Man discovers that his science teacher, Dr. Kirk Connors, has been turned into a deranged lizard due to an experiment gone wrong, and is abducting people throughout Manhattan.
Yep.
So, what are your notes on this episode, and what did you think about it?
I got a lot of notes throughout the whole thing, so I'll just kind of run through them real quick. So nostalgic, first of all. Like, I was just feeling all the nostalgics.
Yeah.
He's in New York City. I just like to know what city they're in and if it's like a fictional city or a real city. So New York City, the Lizard, Kirk Connors. Yeah, I got that. There's one part where I've noticed like in this, and I'll discuss more later, like Spider-Man has like some attitude, like he's snarky.
Yeah.
And he's like quick-witted, and he was like at one point he's fighting the Lizard and he's like, oh, I'm gonna get you. He was like, oh, well, if you thought you were gonna get me, you're myth taken.
I have myth taken, LOL.
I was like, you're so stupid.
You're myth taken. Freaking, what's his name? Oh. I pictured the boxer saying it.
Yeah.
What's his name?
With Mike Tyson.
Yeah, Mike Tyson. You're mistaken.
Mistaken. Like a list.
Okay.
So Peter's not a dweeb in this compared to when the comics he was a total dweeb. He was like a nerd. But in this he's not. He's like a kind of cool dude.
Yeah, he's like a jacked scientist, basically.
Yeah. And I'm like, Peter's kind of cool. And I've never pictured Peter that way because all the portrayals I've ever seen are he's kind of dweeby.
Yeah.
I put that he's not really known as Spider-Man. Like, because at one point, like, he would pop up and they're like, oh, who are you? And he was like, oh, and then, like, later on in the show, they're like, oh, it's Spider-Man. So maybe that's just, like, introducing the people into, like the audience into it. But I was like, I guess Spider-Man's not, like, super well known in this world yet.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
Anyway, he goes into the sewers at one point, and he's, like, complaining about it. He's like, why am I in the sewers? And he said, Fantastic Four and the Avengers and Defenders you'll never see them in the sewers. And I was like, okay, well, it is funny, but it also like gives backstory. It's like those
we know it's a shared universe now.
Yeah, those things exist.
Which later in the series we do 100% see a shared universe because there's a big team up later, and I'd really love to. It's called the Secret Wars, I think. I would love to watch those.
I'm excited
again.
about that.
Yeah.
The sewers are freaking huge. Like,
yeah, those are
giant,
sewers.
enormous. And my last note on this episode before I let you get into it, sorry.
Oh, you're good.
There's a part where he reverses the DNA. He shoots the gun, reverses Kurt Connor's DNA, and they're like on top of each other in the water. And I'm like, how did this DNA reversal not affect Spider-Man? That's just me thinking. I was like, well...
Yeah, maybe it's only programmed for like reptile DNA.
Maybe. All right, what are your thoughts on episode 1? Did you take notes?
Yes, I did. So my first note says I've always loved this intro, and I keep bringing up this intro. This intro is glorious to me, and I don't know why. I just like it. And I also have Mythtaken. LOL. Yeah. And I added some trivia questions.
I have a trivia as well.
For this episode?
For episode 1, I sure do.
Okay, ask me first then. Let's
okay. There is a part where they're talking... Peter Parker is offered a $1,000 reward for getting a picture of the Lizard.
Okay.
And while he's like contemplating that, he's like, I can spend money on this. It shows Aunt May. He calls her Aunt May. He lives with Aunt May. It shows the total amount of bills that are overdue. Right? Okay.
Yeah.
How much was that total bill?
What's funny is my question says, how much did the bill say is past due? $1,000 exactly. Just like
there's $1,000, but mine was what was the total at the bottom?
Oh, wasn't it like $25,000 or something?
Gosh dang it, you're so good. $25,475. Yeah.
Okay. I was off a little bit though.
Yeah. Sorry, I just saw it and I was like, oh, this would be a good question. I'll get them.
Yeah, my Nickelodeon podcast I listen to all the time, they do these trivia questions, and I think they're like the funnest parts, because like, you see who's paying attention, you know?
Mm-hmm. Okay,
so do you have any more trivia for this episode?
That was the only for episode 1, that's all I got.
You kind of answered this trivia question earlier, but you left off one thing, so maybe you won't get the whole thing. What heroes did Spidey reference?
Okay, so he referenced Fantastic Four.
Mm-hmm.
He did the Avengers and he did the Defenders in the sewers.
Did one more, which I guess he did one more. Like one more as part of one of these groups, but he referenced them like individually.
Oh, was it Mr. Fantastic?
Nope, it was the Hulk.
The Hulk. Oh, okay, yeah, okay. Yeah, I remember that now. Yeah.
And then my last note says, "Stupid Mrs. Connor's not listening to Spider-Man." He was like, "Run! No, put that down. What are you doing? You're not listening at all."
Yeah, I was like, "Come on, dude."
All right, episode 2. This episode is called "The Spider Slayer," and the Spider Slayer's first appearance was The Amazing Spider-Man number 25 in 1965. Norman Osborn hires Spencer Smythe. Smite. Is that how you spell it? Sounds like they're saying Smite in the show, but
yeah, I think it's Smite. I don't
know. Spencer Smite to capture Spider-Man. Smite creates his deadliest weapon, the Spider Slayer, to accomplish this. What do you think about this episode?
I liked it. It was I had never been introduced to most of the characters introduced into this, like the Smites and the Spider Slayers. So I don't know if that's like a normal.
What about Kingpin? Did you know about him?
Yeah, I did know Kingpin's mentioned there at the end. So I'll let you go through your notes on this one, and then I'll add, since I did my notes on the first one, I'll let you go through your notes first on this one. How about that?
Okay. So I liked this episode and the next one. It's kind of like a two-parter.
Mm-hmm.
But I prefer like actual villains than just like robots. So I was kind of like, these are okay. Like, it's a good episode, but the freaking robots are way OP. Like, they're way too OP. Yeah. But
and I thought it was interesting they introduced OP episode 2.
Yeah, I know. But then I started thinking, those robots are very slow, so I feel like Spider-Man could find something to do, but I don't know. Do you want me to do my notes or just let you talk about what you thought about the episode?
Yeah, go through your notes.
Okay, so I've always thought the Osborn's hair stripes were weird.
Yeah, that was weird.
Him and his son.
Yeah.
Then I said, this episode seems familiar. Remember when the wrong Spidey got grabbed in the comics?
I put that. I was like, Flash dressed as Spider-Man and he got kidnapped.
Yep, same thing.
I was like, ah!
So yeah, that's why this is fun to compare like this.
Yeah.
Kingpin is a cool villain. You should see him in Netflix's Daredevil. He's like a BA in Daredevil on Netflix if you haven't watched that. He's more of a Daredevil villain too, I think, throughout the years, so it's kind of cool that he's...
Isn't he like Daredevil's arch nemesis or something?
Yeah.
Or one
Wilson Fisk.
Yeah. Anyway.
And then I have one trivia question for you, sir.
Okay, let me put my notes before the trivia.
Okay.
I put he's in college. Jameson did a fingers crossed cliche when he was lying. I was like, come on, dude. Come on. This is so 90s. Peter Parker's kind of a ladies' man. He's kind of a stud.
Felicia Hardy wants his nuts.
Yeah. But anyway, we'll get back to her. Eddie Brock is in this and he gets fired. So I thought that was kind of cool. Like, cause as a fan of Venom, sorry, spoiler alert, the movie that came out, Venom, Eddie Brock, he's like a journalist that is always fired. And that's his big thing. And he's like, he can't get a job. There's a fight scene with guys with guns, and it's like pew 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 pew, and I'll put pew pew guns
like Star Wars.
Yeah, oh my gosh, dang it! And my last little note is this Hardy girl seems like the main interest of Peter Parker, but Aunt May mentions Mary Jane, and Mary Jane historically is Peter Parker's love interest. So
it's almost like we might get a love triangle at some point.
I don't know. Okay, that was really all my notes. I enjoyed it, but yeah, OP. The things are OP, and that was annoying.
Yeah. Did you have trivia, or do you want me to go first?
No trivia on this one.
So, what was the main robot spider's name?
Black Widow.
Boom. Okay.
I put notes for that because I was like, oh, Black Widow is an Avenger, so maybe I don't know.
Yeah.
I thought that was interesting.
I bet it's some kind of callback or reference.
Yeah.
All right, so...
Is that it? Okay.
Yes. Now, I'm just going to rank the episodes. 1 is better than 2 so far.
Oh,
in
yeah.
my opinion.
Yes. Yep.
Okay, so episode 3 is called Return of the Spider Slayers. Already, next episode. As soon as this came on, I was like, you mean to tell me I didn't like the robots and now I have 2 episodes of the robots?
Exactly.
Smite will turn into a pretty cool character later, though.
I've heard that. I think I remember hearing that somewhere.
So, the Kingpin offers to provide Alistair Smite with funds he requires. Alistair Smite with funds.
Isn't that? Sorry, go ahead.
Dragon Age.
No, I was thinking the first assassin. Isn't his name Alistair?
Altair.
Oh, never mind.
So Alistair Smite with the funds he requires to build more of Spencer's Spider Slayer robots, claiming that Spider-Man is responsible for the death of his father. So, you can take the reins on this one, sir.
This one introduced Alistair as more of a character, and Kingpin it showed more of it. He has like unlimited resources, so I liked it more than the previous one. But again, it was more Spider Slayers. There's 3 of them this time, and I was just like, oh, God.
They like stack on top of each other.
Yeah, I'm like, gosh dang it. And I put I was like, where is it? Of course, the Spider Slayers Megazord.
Yeah,
I'm like, gosh dang it. Of course they did. It starts off saying months have passed since episode 2, so I was like, oh, okay, so we get months in between.
Oh, I must have missed that part. That makes sense.
He was like, I dealt with the Spider Slayers months ago.
Oh, good good catch there.
Spider-Man gets captured, but why does no one care who's underneath the mask? Like it could have been revealed easily.
Yeah, I said it's weird that Smite didn't unmask Spider-Man when he easily could have. Like, you have him just stuck there. He didn't even look.
Yeah, but. And I always go back to like the Joker and Batman, and like there's been many accounts where Joker says, I don't give two flips. Like, I'm paraphrasing here. He's like, I don't give two flips who's underneath the mask. I don't care about that guy. I care about Batman. I don't care about the other persona. So that's kind of like where I was at. I was like, Alistair just cares about Spider-Man. He doesn't care about Peter Parker. He's like, Spider-Man killed my dad, not this other dude.
Yeah, I was just thinking, if you really had that much vengeance and you wanted to kill, like, I would want to know who it was. I'd be like, even if you aren't Spider-Man, I'll find you then. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
but,
I can see it. Jonah Jameson pops up and he gets captured too, and he was like, I'll fund your research. So apparently JJ is very rich.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, he was throwing $1,000 at Parker even in the comics, wasn't he?
That's true. Yeah, and but still, like, I just thought that was like budgeted money, you know, like bonuses or whatever. But apparently he's like rich, and so him and Jameson get like stuck together like with cuffs and a bomb.
Yeah,
and Spider-Man uses a laser to free Jameson, and I was like, why doesn't he just use the laser to free himself? I was like, what the heck's going on here?
Holy crap! I'm gonna tell you something. I did $1,000 in 1963 to today's money.
Yeah,
$8,500 almost.
My God, was it $1,000?
I thought it was 1,000, wasn't it?
I might have notes for it.
And he said, "I'll give you."
Hold on, let me look. I think I might have put those notes down. Notes.
I'll see if I have it too.
I just have that he's broke. I didn't put how much money he was offered. So if you guys know, if we don't have it, let us know.
Yeah, what was it?
But shoot,
Aunt May selling shoelaces for 10 cents. I have that right
so, I think you're right. I think it is $1,000, but I can't remember.
I'm pretty sure.
So at one point, the spiders are after everyone that was involved in the last episode. One of those being Eddie Brock, and so Eddie Brock had just got hired at this other.
Gets fired again.
Yeah, he gets instantly fired. But what I thought was funny is this big old gigantic mechanical spider Kool-Aid Man's this wall like, oh yeah, Eddie Brock. And Eddie Brock's like, oh no, and shuts the door. And I'm like, dude, you just walked through a wall. Why are you shutting the door? Like, what's that gonna do? And then what do you know? Walks through the wall. I'm like,
yeah, I'm glad this show's a little corny too.
I was like, come on, dude, like, what are you doing? And Eddie Brock really just is starting to hate Spider-Man, and I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
And the last thing, I got two more things. Or we finally get to see the web cartridge system. Like he pulls up his sleeve and you get to see that. I thought that was cool.
Which that is also not every single Spider-Man. Sometimes he can do it naturally. So,
but I like this better because it's like not supposed to be like it wasn't one of his original powers in the comic books we read. He built the webs, so I thought it was cool that he built the webs in this. Freaking the villain, Alistair, at one point, like he's like watching with binoculars, and then he like puts it down and he's like, just what are you gonna do now? And like does the evil hands thing. I was like, why you gotta do something stupid like that? And my last note is Osborn drives a Honda Accord, and he's supposed to be like one of the richest mans in this world. He drives a freaking Honda Accord. Oh
yeah,
I do have a trivia. So after you do your notes,
okay. Yeah. I have two trivia for this episode.
Wonderful share trivia again.
Wait. Oh, this isn't a trivia. This is just me saying. I said, who needs a tracker when you can just ride with the spiders? Like, he tracked both spiders and they ended up just taking him to their hideout anyways.
I know. I was like, that was so stupid.
Like, the trackers never even came in handy.
I know. I was like, but they introduced the idea of it.
Yeah.
So.
It's weird that Smite didn't unmask Spider-Man when he easily could have. Spider-Man should not have saved Norman Osborn because we know what Norman turns into eventually.
Yeah.
Do you remember?
Yeah.
Okay. MJ is picking up Peter for a date. Lol. Like, she's really pushy.
It's how the episode ended, right?
Yeah.
She was like, "You just hit the lottery," like a reference back to them saying the lottery earlier.
And then I have Mary Jane's first appearance was the Amazing Spider-Man number 25.
Nice. Oh, another Fantastic Four reference. Mm-hmm. Did you catch this one? This isn't the trivia I have, but
it's one of my trivia questions. Yeah.
Okay, I'll let you.
Do you want to do trivia first or me?
You do it, since I kind of already talked about it.
What was the dog's name that runs out and starts barking at the spider?
Trooper, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Like, the subtitle said Cooper, but I was like, I'm pretty sure she said Trooper.
Yeah, and who did Spider-Man steal a line from?
Yeah, the Thing. He's like, it's clobbering time. I was like, hey, I love this. It kind of shows that Peter Parker is like a Fantastic Four nerd, like we all would be. He's like, oh man, they're awesome. Like, if you're living in that world.
I like that, because the original comics were like that too. So
yeah, exactly. Okay, now I'm pretty sure you're not going to get this one because you didn't ask. Norman Osborn, not Norman.
Harry.
Is it who's the dad? Is it Norman?
Norman's the dad.
Norman's okay. That's what I was thinking. Okay, so Norman Osborn flees in his super expensive Honda Accord. He gets in a car wreck and the car spins. You get to see the license plate on his car. What is the license plate number?
Oh, that's a good one. Good. I have no idea. I didn't even.
It said Osborn and then the numbers. There's 5 numbers.
What is it?
19721.
19721. I'd love to know.
I don't know what it means. I didn't look it up. It might mean something. Might be a reference to something. But like 1972 issue 1 or something. I don't know.
Oh, I'm gonna.
But I thought that was interesting. I should have looked it up.
I'm gonna check this. I'm gonna see if that meant Norman Osborn.
Yeah, let me know. Sorry guys, a little nuts and bolts here. You get to see behind the scenes of us searching stuff.
Okay, so his first appearance as Green Goblin.
Spoiler
alert. Was The Amazing Spider-Man number 14, July 1964.
Just here, I will Google Norman Osborn license plate egg. Let's just do that.
Oh, I didn't know he was the Iron Patriot at one time.
These are all Far From Home. So maybe we'll if you guys know if it's an Easter egg, let us know. If not, I'll do some more research, see if I can figure it out.
That's cool though. Good find.
Thank you. All right, episode 4. Unless you have something more on episode 3.
Episode 3 was better than 2, though. I'll just say.
Agreed. Because Mary Jane's in it.
But 1 was still better.
Okay, yeah, I would agree with that.
So, episode 4 is called Dr. Octopus, Armed and Dangerous. His first appearance was The Amazing Spider-Man number 3 in 1963, and we read that one, so this should be fun. I have a hiccup. When Peter arrives for a date with Felicia Hardy, she is kidnapped by corrupt scientist Dr. Octopus in order to force her mother to provide him with ransom money in which she promised to fund his experiments. So, what'd you think about this one?
Okay, I like this one a lot. This is probably my favorite episode that we watched, probably because I like Dr. Octopus, and it was almost a direct reference to the comic we read. So I thought that was cool. What about you? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I liked it a lot. It's my favorite so far. I might like 5 more than this one, but it's definitely number 1 so far. I did notice the difference from whenever he became a... I didn't write this down in my notes, that's why I'm saying it now. You know how, like, in the comic, whenever he became Dr. Octopus, it was obviously, like, his arms were so he could deal with harsh chemicals and stuff without getting hurt originally, you know? But in this, he ends up, like, losing his job or losing something and having to do it in, like, a crappy basement, and that's why things went wrong, because he didn't have the right equipment anymore. Like, you know what I'm talking about?
Well, there was still an explosive reaction, and caused those things, and he was handling dangerous equipment. But yeah, there are little differences.
I was just meaning he never like he just decided like he was still in a good lab in the comics when that happened.
Oh,
right?
I get what you're saying. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yeah.
Because he makes it seem like he's super mad, basically.
But he did reference it. He was like, I lost my funding and lost some of the ability to put in safety precautions.
Yeah,
he did say that.
So, what are your notes?
My notes. I said, Hardy, what happened to Mary Jane? Like, episode 3 ended on them going on a date with Mary Jane, and this one,
I
he's
noticed
like,
that too.
going
It's
on
like...
a date. I'm like, what the heck? I was like, Peter, come on, dude.
Peter Pumpkin
Dog.
Eater.
Yeah. I love Doc Ock's outfit. Very X-Men esque, and I love that.
And that bowl cut.
Oh my gosh, the bowl cut's awesome. But his outfit, I thought was super cool. It was like Wolverine-esque, like the old X-Wolverine. Octavius had a big impact on Peter's life growing up with the science camp.
Was that in the comics? I can't remember.
I don't think it was. I think Peter just knew he was a genius kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's obvious they're making him seem smart, Octavius, and he's a smart guy, obviously. But like he said certain things, and I'll get to that in trivia. I have a couple trivia for this one, but they are purposely like having his dialogue be in like he's a smart guy.
Yeah.
We see J3 Productions or Communications, and it's like a J. Jonah Jameson's TV company, and so he's like a TV company and a newspaper studios. And I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. That's explained. He's what is CEO and president or something is what he said.
Yeah,
that's why he has all his money. I was like, okay, makes sense. Spider-Man uses a. This is never mind. There's dual identity issues still, like Peter Parker versus Spider-Man. You know.
Yeah,
I thought that was cool. Peter is a genius. Peter Parker's still a genius. He's super smart. Yeah. I just now, when they were fighting, Spider-Man and Octavius were fighting, I just now got the irony of an octopus with 8 legs versus a spider with 8 legs. It just kind of hit me. I was like, oh, this is ironic.
I have some notes about that. But yeah, that I noticed that too. This episode.
I was like it just for whatever reason kind of dawned on me, even though Spider-Man doesn't have 8 legs, but it was like, oh, spider versus octopus. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Octavius is working on a cold fusion reactor, and this is made in the 90s when the cold fusion was really like popular, like that study was really popular. So I thought that was kind of cool. Like they added that. Hardy is also dating Flash. Or she's known to go on dates with Flash, and she makes a comment. She's like, "Oh yeah, that reminds me of Flash Thompson. All hands." I was like, "Oh, that made me laugh."
These '90s shows aren't afraid to say some stuff.
Yeah, I was like, "Gosh, dig it." The fight between Doc Ock and Spider-Man are very similar in the comics and in the show, so I appreciated that. And then at the end, instead of rescuing them, like from this spaceship engine thing that's about to blow him up, why didn't he just turn it off? Like it's like 10, 9. He's like, I gotta save him. He could have just gone over there and turned it.
Yeah.
Like, what the heck, dude? Okay, that's my notes, and then I have 2 trivias after your notes.
I don't have a lot of notes, but so I'll do the 2 episode points I have, and then I'll get back to the 8 leg thing. Okay. So I put that he just tossed Spider-Man out the window like he was nothing. Like it was such a boss move. He was like, "You bring me what I want," and just tossed him out the window. And he comes back in,
or he did it with Peter. He did it with Peter. Yeah. Oh, sorry.
It's funny because he runs back in like you can't get away. Wait, he's already gone. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I was like, why? He's fast.
Yeah. And then I put that bowl cut though, but
yeah.
So I don't know if did it mention anything about 8 legs and 8 legs, or did we both just come to that conclusion randomly?
I think we just kind of came to that conclusion.
Because when I looked up some Dr. Octopus stuff, like I wanted to see which issue was his first appearance. Something called Superior Spider-Man popped up. You ever heard of that? So at one point in the comics, I don't know where, Dr. Octopus becomes Spider-Man, and he's known as Superior Spider-Man, and he has 4 legs coming out of his back, like spider legs.
Yeah.
So I was thinking
that there were multiple versions of Spider-Man in the Spider-Verse.
Yeah, I just didn't know Octopus ever did And it's just funny he called himself Superior. That just seems like something he would do. Like, I'm Superior Spider-Man. And then he still has the 8 legs, so it kind of still fits Dr. Octopus. Like, that was what I was thinking. So, yeah, that's all I have. I don't have any trivia, but I do on the next episode. So, let's see your trivia.
Spider-Man makes a very dated, like, put down or like call someone a term that I had never heard before. I just want to mention this. It's called pickle puss. Do you know what that means? No. He was like, take that, you pickle puss. I was like, what the heck?
It sounds like a stinky undercarriage.
Yeah. Anyway, okay, so with Doc Ock, when he first captured Hardy, she said, "Who are you?" And he said, she's like, "What's your name?" Do you remember his answer? That's not the question, but do you remember what he said?
Mm-mm.
He said, "What's in a name?" And do you know what that is a reference to? That phrase, what is in a name?
Is it some kind of classic literature?
It is.
I can't remember.
The full quote is, "What's in a name? Rose by each name, or thorns, or something." Anyway, it's a Romeo and Juliet reference.
I was going to say Shakespeare, yeah.
Yeah, when Romeo's asking her, "What's your name?" and she's like, "What is in a name?" Okay, And then at the end, when he gets captured and he's like being held, he says, "Stone walls do not a prison make, neither do metal bars a birdcage," or something like that. Do you know what this is from?
Man in the Iron Mask.
No, but that's a great movie. It's a poem to Alethea from prison. It's another classical literature poem.
So Doc Ock is showing his sophisticated education side.
Yeah, and that's why I was like, oh, they're obviously trying to show us that he's educated.
Which it's a good touch, because a kid wouldn't notice that. You know what I mean?
But me as an adult.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, I know this quote.
Like, I like when they put stuff that it's not going to blow a kid's mind if an adult happens to see it. It's like, oh, I appreciate that.
Very Shrek movie, like a lot of adult stuff in it.
Yeah. Farquaad.
Lord Farquaad. Anyway.
So, I failed both of those.
Yeah. Shame. You've missed all 3 of mine. All 4 of them. I'll give you the first one, the 25,000.
You missed the Hulk.
Yeah, I sure did.
Maybe you'll miss
episode 5?
Yeah. So episode 5 is called The Menace of Mysterio. His first appearance was The Amazing Spider-Man number 13 in 1964. J. Jonah Jameson and many others believe that Spider-Man is responsible for robberies that have been happening recently. And what do you know, another Spider-Man impersonator. So, do my notes first, I guess?
Yeah, like, just what are your overall... Let's go do our overall thoughts, then we'll dive into the notes.
Overall thoughts, this is my favorite episode, I think, because I didn't know... Whenever I first started watching Spider-Man back in the day, I didn't know the backstory of Mysterio, really. And then I did some research, just, looking up his first appearance and stuff. And I haven't seen the new movie, so I don't know what they have him as, because Jake Gyllenhaal plays him. But yeah, Mysterio is kind of a cool character, and I've always thought he was cool, but I always thought he was... I thought he was like a mutant almost, but now that I know it's all show, it's like, that's kind of impressive, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, he has no superpowers, actually.
I would argue his intelligence, but yes.
Yeah, but, you know what I mean? Superhuman
I would
abilities.
agree. Yeah, I would agree. It's a great show. Having seen Far From Home, I kind of knew that. Like, as soon as I saw Mysterio, I was like, oh, I kind of know his backstory already. So I was excited about that, because Mysterio is a cool villain, and I like that he's, like you said, not really a superhuman mutant guy, but he's just like a normal dude, like using his intelligence to beat people.
Yeah, like, I've always known about this Mysterio and like what he could do. Mm-hmm. I just didn't know it was like, the details, I guess.
I like the part where I like the aspect where Spider-Man has to actually like use his spider sense to beat him, rather than his. And it goes more into depth in that in the movie, like with Tom Holland, which is great. You need to watch it.
Yeah, our next one up is Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Another good one.
Yeah.
Okay, so go into your notes.
So my first note says...
do you have trivia?
Yes, I have 2 questions.
I have 1 question, but okay.
I said, that's a strong ceiling fan.
Yeah, he like does a flip and he's like, ta-da!
He's like hanging on it for like a really long... I mean, it breaks eventually, but my ceiling fan will break way faster than that, I think.
Maybe you just weigh more than Peter Parker.
There's no way. He's too muscly.
Yeah.
Dude has a whole boombox on the bus.
Yeah. I was like,
It's like
90s, man. 90s.
it's like not even like a like you'd think he'd have a Walkman or something.
Yeah.
How many times is Spider-Man gonna get mimicked?
Yeah, I know.
Spider-Man had some kind of web air tank underwater. Did you notice that?
Yeah, he like it was almost like he made a web as he was falling and used it as an air canister. But I was like, a web is not solid. So
Also, like, how do you have time to think about that? I don't know.
Yeah, he's smart.
Sorry. And then I put MJ is so thirsty. LOL.
Yeah.
And then I have 2 trivias, but you do your notes first.
Okay, so I got more notes. I was like, Mary Jane's back, I guess. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Is Peter dating 2 people? I was like, what the frick is going on? Mysterio has a knack for the flashy, which, if you know the character, of course he does. I like the reference to the Wizard of Oz. Mysterio was like, oh, follow the yellow brick road.
Yeah.
Thought that was cool.
Spider-Man's about to swing right out that hole, too.
Yeah. He's like, what the heck? Spider-Man said he felt like Wile E. Coyote. I thought that was kind of cool, a little reference.
Yeah.
Sorry if that was one of your trivias.
It wasn't. I almost did it, and I was like, Craig knows Wile E. Coyote.
Yeah. I was like, Peter, or Spider-Man, I guess, this is an obvious trap. Why are you going to the bridge? Yeah. And then after the water, I'm like, holy crap, Peter is jacked. Because he, takes off his shirt, and you're like, dang.
Yeah, dude is massive.
I was like, he quits being Spider-Man. I was like, oh, so we're having this identity crisis already? I loved that it gave the background. It finally gave the background for Uncle Ben and the wrestling background. I love that. I thought that was really cool. And then Ben died at the house again. I mentioned this on the comics. The original movies that I saw with Tobey Maguire, Uncle Ben died in the street. And even in The Amazing Spider-Man with Andrew Garfield, I want to say Uncle Ben died in the streets as well. So the fact that he died at home in the original sources, I'm like, oh, that's kind of different. And then, of course, the quote finally happened, with great power comes great responsibility.
Yeah, we knew that was going to pop up eventually.
Yeah, I was like, finally. Okay. Tell me your trivia, and then I'll tell you mine.
What is Mysterio's real name?
Quentin Beck.
Yes.
I had that down as a note.
And how long till Spider-Man's web dissolves?
He said a couple hours, right?
I think he said 1 hour.
1 hour? Yeah.
I think he said, mine dissolves in 1 hour. This has been here all night.
Something like that. It was at the... Yeah. Okay, so at the very end, he finally catches up with Mary Jane, and she originally asked him to help her study, and he blew her off because he was fighting, and he forgot. She said, don't worry, I figured it out. He was like, do you still need help studying? She was like, no. A wise man once said, she who learns must study. That is not the actual quote. Do you know what the actual quote is?
No, I do not.
So she said, she who learns must study. The actual quote is, he who learns must suffer. So I thought that was kind of a cool little that was kind of cool.
Yeah, those deep trivia questions.
Sorry. This is just what I think about when I...
Yeah. I thought you were going to ask, what 2 classes she compares. I guess I can just throw that at you.
She has physics and drama.
Yeah, I think she said theater.
Theater. Yeah, she's a drama major. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Oh. Cool. What are your overall impressions?
I still love the show. I'd love to get back to it. Maybe even skip ahead to the Secret Wars part at some point, unless you want to watch all the way through.
It's your choice, man.
I'm just saying, if you told me to skip ahead to something, I'd be like, no.
Yeah, I like watching stuff in order, but if you want to skip ahead, I'm down for whatever you want.
Okay. Yeah, I like it a lot. I think it's better than the comics, but I still like the comics a lot too. It was fun to compare. I enjoy reading comics and manga or all that kind of stuff and books, but if I in this instance, I'm not a huge fan of the comics in comparison to this show. I'd much rather watch the show than read the comics. But I'm excited to read the comics still. I'm not trying to... I do plan on actually, when we get to the Final Four comics, Fantastic Four, not Final Four, doing that 90s show too. That'll be fun.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. All right. So now to reveal my choice for the Nerd Corner next week. So can I get a drum roll? It's not that big of a secret. I want to watch episodes 6 through 10 of Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood.
Okay, cool.
So 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that'll be 5, and we'll.
Sweet.
Yeah, I almost watched it more this past week because I was just like, oh, this show's so good. I need to.
Yeah.
I was like, no, I'll wait so I can watch it with Corey. So
yeah. All right, sounds good.
Anyway, any other parting thoughts or words, Corey?
If you guys want to watch with us, be sure to watch. If you want to play with
us,
be sure to play.
If you didn't watch the first 5 episodes, we talked about it in the last episode, in episode 2. So we will be going over Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 next week. We'll also be talking about Recoded. We'll be talking about The Last of Us. And those really are going to be our in-depth games and Nerd Corner. So
I'll probably dive more into Persona 5 as well. Yeah, do you think you'll start that by then?
I probably won't start it this week. Maybe the week after.
Okay. Cool.
Cool. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. Don't forget to like and comment. Let us know as any thoughts you want us to talk about. Any questions you want to ask us, we'll answer it live. Well, we'll be talking live. It won't be live for you guys, but we'll answer it next week. So thank you guys for hanging out, and lots of love. We'll see you guys next week.
Bye.